what you should know about the murder trial of Karen Reed. Karen Reed is on trial for the alleged January 2022 murder of her partner. Her trial has attracted enormous online attention and large crowds outside the courthouse. Miss Reed's fate may ultimately be decided by the jury, which is now deliberating and charged with rendering a verdict in the trial. The subject of the case is Boston police officer JohnOKeefe, who was declared dead in January 2022 after being discovered unconscious in the snow outside the suburban home of a colleague. Miss Reed, his girlfriend, was accused of killing him, although she insists she is innocent. She is suspected of hitting Mr. O'Keefe with her car after a night of drinking, leaving him off at the home of a fellow police officer and then fleeing the scene. She is facing many counts. Everything else you need to know about the case is provided here. JohnOKeefe and Karen Reed, who are they? Miss Reed, 44, was employed by Fidelity Investments as an equity analyst and as an adjunct lecturer at Bentley University prior to the case. Before his death in 2022, she and Mr. O'Keefe dated for around 2 years, although the latter portion of their relationship was rocky, according to the prosecution in their case. Before he passed away, Mr. O'Keefe worked for the Boston Police Department for 16 years. The age of his death was 46. Miss Reed is charged with several offences, including fleeing the scene of a fatal incident, driving while intoxicated, and second-degree murder. According to Massachusetts law, she could get a maximum term of life in prison if she is found guilty of second-degree murder. To every charge, she has entered a not guilty plea. Synopsis of the case made by the prosecution: the pair allegedly had alcohol the night before Mr. O'Keefe's body was discovered, according to the prosecution. It is said that Miss Reed dropped off her boyfriend at a home party. Prosecutors claim that when she drove away, she did a 3-point turn, struck Mr. O'Keefe, and then drove away. A few hours later, she and the other 2 women went to the party, where they discovered Mr. O'Keefe in a snowbank. According to NBC News, hypothermia and blunt force injuries to the head were eventually found to be the cause of his death. Prosecutors claimed the pair had a difficult relationship throughout their case. They assert that Miss Reed's deliberate vehicle crash with her ex-boyfriend was a result of their unresolved issues. Among others brought to testify were Mr. O'Keefe's brother, Paul O'Keefe, who described the arguments the couple had. An outline of the defence's argument. As part of her defense, Miss Reed chose not to take the stand. Rather, her attorneys contended that she was set up and that the detectives had improper connections to witnesses and other parties. Mr. O'Keefe was found outside the house party after being pulled there, according to the defense. The defense centered a large portion of their argument on what they claimed was a subpar investigation into O'Keefe's killing by local law enforcement. The defense contended that a few investigators who managed the case were acquainted with the police officers present at the home party on January 19th. For instance, Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor, the main investigator, acknowledged that he had a friendship with the Boston Police Department, which threw the party where Mr. O'Keefe passed away. The defense claimed that Miss Reed was a convenient outsider who was singled out to make sure that investigators did not look into other suspicions. Dr. Frank Sheridan, a retired forensic pathologist, was one of the witnesses who testified on behalf of the defense. According to the Associated Press, he asserted that Mr. O'Keefe's body would have sustained greater bruising if it had been struck by a large car. What is the present state of the case? The closing arguments for Miss Reed's defense team and the prosecution started on Tuesday, following 9 weeks of testimony and other court processes. After debating since Tuesday, the jury informed the judge on Friday that they were unable to come to a unanimous decision. The judge will frequently ask the jury to reconvene in the deliberation room in the event that they are unable to come to a consensus. We refer to this instruction as an Allen charge. Judge Beverly Canone of Norfolk County Superior Court gave the Massachusetts jury that identical explanation on Friday. It is now anticipated that the 12-person jury, consisting of 6 men and 6 women, will resume deliberations on Monday. Turtleboy, who is he? Turtleboy, also known as Aidan Kearney, is a fascinating figure who emerged from this trial. He is currently being prosecuted for allegedly intimidating trial witnesses. Mr. Kearney writes as Turtleboy on the TB Daily News website, which he owns. He has attentively studied the case and has maintained that Miss Reed is innocent. His writing regularly criticises the Mr. O'Keefe death inquiry, and he openly challenges witnesses over the case. Prosecutors showed the jury multiple instances of witness intimidation during the trial. After being accused of intimidating witnesses in October 2023, Mr. Kearney entered a not guilty plea. Following his 2023 arrest, Mr. Kearney told reporters, "They will never shut me up. They will never, ever stop me from reporting the truth about what happened to JohnOKeefe." Reporting on events is not abusive behaviour. It is not harassment to ask questions. He faced another indictment in December. This time, there are 16 additional counts, including conspiring to intimidate witnesses and intimidating witnesses. The prosecution claimed that Miss Reed was exchanging material from the case that was not yet public with Mr. Kearney and that they were in communication. Because Mr. Kearney is accused of intimidating witnesses, Judge Canone, who is presiding over the case, decided that Mr. Kearney would have to leave the courtroom for some witnesses' testimony.